What is up, and welcome back, everybody. Potato Slayer 3 here, back in our home brewery. Now, last episode we brewed our first beer and also a failed beer that ended up not meeting the requirements for the job. So hopefully this time we will complete our jobs correctly. So this episode it looks like we're going to be brewing some IPAs, which I'm not sure if it's a different process or probably close to the same. Now, just looking through the instructions here, it seems like it's going to be about the same, but maybe just a few different ingredients and a little bit extra in some areas or less in some areas. Now, I'm not entirely sure of the difference between IPAs and beers. I know there is a flavor difference, and a lot of people end up not liking IPAs as much. So I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on what you like better and what is your beer or IPA of choice. If you want to leave that in the comments below, I think that'd be very interesting to hear. So let's get going on these instructions here and get our first IPA brewed. Hopefully I have the recipe tracked and I'm on the right one. And good thing I checked to make sure we had the right recipe, because we definitely did not have the right recipe. It does look like we are progressing into the story here. We have our friend Jeff, who we're making our IPA for, and after completing it, we get a picnic cooler. So I'd be interested to see how we're using this to brew our beers in. Right now, we're just using some fermentation containers. Looks a little bit more professional than a cooler, but I'm down to try anything with that. And also looking in here, we can unlock some breweries at some point. So hopefully, or maybe we're not staying inside of our house for too long, and we get to get inside of a nice dedicated building instead of our home here. All right, so we've got our malts and our steepables put into our pot here. Now we have a chocolate steepable in here, so I hope that'll produce a nice chocolatey flavor. That is what the description said here, but I think that'll add a good flavor to our beer. Now while this is boiling, our kitchen has become quite a mess. I've been just leaving stuff on the counter because I didn't realize we had a trash can over here. So we're gonna do a quick little cleanup like this and hope that we didn't need those ingredients for anything. Right now it looks like we just have infinite of everything, and we don't need to worry about saving supplies for other batches or leaving them to be, except for our fermentation container and a brewing pot. But that's all right, because right now we're only doing one at a time, so having one of those doesn't really matter too much. And after letting our wort cool for a couple hours, now it's time to move it into our fermentation container, making sure to remove the lid this time. Always something I forget. Pour this bad boy into there, add our yeast, put the top back on or else it dissolves, and then we gotta let it sit for 15 days. Add our corn sugar to get all the alcohol broken down by the yeast, and then put it into a conditioning container for another 21 days, and our first IPA will be finished. And after 21 days of standing in our kitchen again, our IPA should hopefully be finished and correct for the job. Now this time I did remember to put the cap back on our conditioning container, so it did not evaporate more than almost half of our beer like I did last time. So now it's time to do our tasting, and this is a much better result. We actually have a finishing screen here so we can get our results instead of a you failed right away. Now I'm not sure what we're looking for here in terms of clarity and all of this carbonation. Maybe we're shooting for towards the middle more, but obviously it depends on what type of beer we're going for or what type of IPA we're going for. And our APV looks pretty good, which is our alcohol by volume. Now I know IPAs are a little bit higher than regular beers, so I believe 8 is pretty good for that. And it seems like we matched our recipe style pretty well. Looks like that is going to be a completed job. And I'll give this a wonderful name of Hop to It, which is totally not the name of our job. Now I do know that they do have their specific style glasses, but for now we're going to leave it default. We'll submit our IPA and see how it comes out. And we have another beer bottle here that we can put up for display, so I guess we'll just throw that next to our other one right now. Not sure where to put these yet. Get that one facing the right way. Maybe we'll build a display at some point, because there's a build mechanic in this game that we can place stuff down. Not sure how in depth that goes, but for now we're going to focus on getting some beer tokens and some other things to hopefully not be impoverished at some point. And after another 36 long days, we finally finished our next beer here. Now this is called a Uncle's Wise Beer, and I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, so I do apologize if I am, but I figured out for the brew pot that we can actually put a lid back on there while we're letting it cool, so we don't lose any product while it's sitting here waiting to cool to 20°C. And we actually ended up with just slightly more than we usually do in terms of volume here. Usually we end up around 17 or 18 liters, and right now we're sitting around 19, which is very good. We actually didn't lose any while we were waiting for it to cool off here. So this one's supposed to be a little bit more carbonated, so it looks like we're actually very high on that, which is pretty good. And I said we can use more sugar to get a higher carbonation, so that's pretty interesting. I didn't know that. And as we can see here, since it wasn't our IPA, we're a little bit lower on our ABV, which is totally all right. I think usually beers sit around 5% or 7%, and IPAs are just a little bit higher than that. Now, I did pay attention in the recipe book. It did say that there is a specific glass for it, or it showed it in a Pilsner glass instead of our regular, I believe we're in a tulip glass. So now that we have our correct glass, we can give her a name, the German Wonder, because that is where this beer originated from. And I also realized that the last job that we did was actually taken off because it's a new season, so we can't go back and do that one, unfortunately. But we have another beer finished, and we're actually upgraded to a home brewer, which is great. A little bit past our early stages here, and we got some rewards for doing that. Another magnet, which we'll definitely put on the fridge, and some more beer tokens. Now, hopefully we can upgrade our brewing situation a little bit. Maybe add another pot or another burner over here. So we've added our German Wonder to the display here next to our first two there. Now we have to wait till the next season and see what we get for doing those two things. And into our next season here, we've got our picnic Kool-Aid. But wait, this video came out to be a little bit longer than I expected, so I'm going to be splitting it into the first two part of the channel. If you want to see the second part, I'm going to be putting it out this Tuesday at around 5 p.m. If you want to stay updated on my latest uploads, make sure to check out my Twitter. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in part 2.